Is cúsach domsa túair scoil seo Westport Eleven-Twelve a corfaí brád an cruinne seánach. Bhí sé de friúide agam a bheith I man an taide agus chur le céile na dorthaí. Thóg sé gábhín orm an obair se chríoch nú. Agus cé gur tá mé anna bhuíoch an uachtarán hír cúil an hala gur cadagum is sé go dhéanamh. Anyhow, tá anás an gur áir le mé dhéanamh. Tásúla gan gur fiú an híarach agus go man for sása misnach as na tarthaí. It has been a great privilege for me to have directed the recent survey research on Westport as a visitor tourist destination, and to put together the findings and recommendations contained in Westport 11-12. This is the fourth, as Sean pointed out, that I have the privilege of directing and writing. In the course of the four projects, I have come to know, and apart from my own background here, I've been reared in this, and in my education here, and I worked in this town, I got to know very much about Westport tourism, its development. In fact, there was a visit here many years ago from the Lord Mayor of Limavady, and he told me that, and he put me on to something that I've followed ever since. He says the key to Westport's success is its tourist infrastructure. Now, for anyone who knows about community structures, infrastructure is very important. Superstructure is often very wasteful. And the response of the visitors and tourists to their Westport experience. Now, these projects have been commissioned by Westport Tourism Organisation, on whose committee I've been involved for 25 years, as pointed out, 26 years actually. During all that time, it was a real privilege for me, and the insight I got to observe and participate with the ongoing monitoring and supportive work of this voluntary group of committed supporters of Westport as a quality destination. Westport Tourism Organisation is very much part of the success of Westport. It would not have succeeded without it. Accompanied by its sister organisation, the Tidy Towns Committee, and working with the voluntary and statutory committees as already mentioned. It will be clear from the findings of this report that since 1987, the success of Westport as a tourist destination is due to the whole host committee. And only before, I was coming down on the train yesterday and I got a great insight. What is the link between Westport successful as a tourist destination and the survey of the Irish Times, which said it's the best place in Ireland to live? The two are the same. If you have a community that's a good place to live in, it will be attractive to holiday in. And when you have the gifts of the environment around it and the activities that have grown up in the town, it's wonderful. So the combination there is the same. And they know me in sociology, I'm a structural functionalist. I believe the explanation of all structures is in their function, how successful they are in providing the needs of the people. Now, on page 5 of your booklet, the support, there is a table. And this table shows you that over the past 11 years in Westport, we've got 3 tidy towns, plus 2 tidy largest towns, but a whole plethora of recognition. And this is going to be the challenge, as already pointed out, is there's going to be a raised standard of expectation. And we have to keep up the standards and at the same time look at where there are gaps. Now the purpose of this survey was to monitor, we're going to go back to the other one, well, that's it. To examine tourism infrastructure and to see and to inform the host community of the needs over a wide range, and to contribute to the criteria that are going to be used by those who make decisions for Westport. Now there were two surveys carried out for this one. The first one was a visitor survey, and this was carried out in 2011. And in all, 857 visitors were interviewed, come from hotels and everything. And now you have putting up on the board a table, which might be difficult to see, of the makeup of those visitors and so on. And you see there, male and female, 50, 60, 40, the age bracket, quite good distribution of age. Irish, 65.4%. And the rest in from abroad, Great Britain, 13%, Europe, 12.27%, North America, 6.2%, and elsewhere, 2.5%. And this is not unlike what has happened in 2011, because in the earlier times, the Irish started coming back to having holidays in Ireland because of the downturn. Where we got them from was, we got 40% from each of the bed and breakfasts and the hotels, and the rest are distributed there. They came 29% in July, 44% in August, and 17% in September, and 84.5% of them came by car. But there was a big increase in the number that came by rail, and a big decrease in the number that came by bus. So that's the nature, that was the survey. Now the second group we surveyed were the leaders of the host community. And we have up here now the breakdown of the 156 of them. 15 from the hotels and apartments, hostels, bed and breakfast 20, restaurants and pubs 26, retail business 31, committee member personnel and so on, all the volunteers 32, and the human services another. So that's a good mix. In all we identified 252 and we interviewed 156, which is a 62% response rate. And it's not a response rate from the sample, it's a response rate from a population that we came on by what I call the snowball method. You keep on looking until everyone's bringing up the same names. Now, both of these samples are good, but I want to say about the visitors one is that it was limited by time, of course. We hadn't people available to go out and interview people on the street passing through, and we didn't visit the people who are staying with their families. But the host survey has been the main consultative survey, and I think this is unique, to have 156 of the leaders of this town in one survey. And their collective opinion is going to be very hard to get a more authoritative result than that. The next thing we were the hosts, move on. The findings of the survey then were the reasons why people came to Westport, and that's found on table 4 in your book. And this is of the why they came to Westport, and the main reason was scenery and sightseeing. The natural environment is on top. Relaxing atmosphere was second. Pubs and restaurants was third, and return visit was fourth. Now these are pre-COVID. Recommendation of a friend, and others came after that. You'll see it all in the survey itself. And that was one. The next one then is an examination of the Westport experience. Now how we get that is, you ask the person, could you name a number of reasons, what were the three most attractive things you found about Westport. And when we asked the people that, we discovered that the three most, the most attractive things were, we'll give you the top four: scenery, landscape and sea; special places of interest, that included Westport House, Kylemore Abbey, Croagh-Patrick and so on; friendliness of the people came third, and with a very big percentage, 33.5. And the town and its facilities were fourth. And then down below were pubs and entertainment, restaurants and cafes, indoor and outdoor activities, relaxing holiday accommodation. So that was the next. And after that then, what was the impact? We asked them about what was the impact of commercialization. Where are we? No, you're going to go back. Where you are, yeah. The next thing, what were the least attractive things about Westport? And the least attractive things in the view of the of the visitors was the weather was number one. The range of activities was number two. Driving and traffic was number three, including the town road signs and so on. Parking. The whole area of transport, parking and driving was a very big negative problem. But on the overall, they had very few negatives relative to the number of positives. And we go, the next one then there is the overall satisfaction with Westport. And this, in my opinion, is one of the key things we can be proud of. And we asked him the question, how satisfactory was your holiday? Was it very satisfactory, satisfactory, unusual? 79.7% of the sample said, sorry, I'm reading my, 98.8% of the visitors were satisfied with their visit. It's almost incredible. Would you be interested to come back again any other time? 70.6% would. And then I asked them, what time during the year will they come? But then the key question, would you like to return to Westport on a holiday? Would you recommend your friends to come? 89.8%, that's 90%, said they would like to come back again. And 96% said they would recommend it to their friends. Now that's out of 857 visitors. I don't think you can get better figures than that anywhere. I've never researched them in my lifetime anyhow. And the next thing was getting to know the people of Westport. Well, it improved since 2002, but still 1/3 said they had only minimal or no knowledge of the people of Westport. 34.4%. Now that means that they are not sharing events with people. And I suppose sometimes maybe there will be exclusive programs where the people get everything into one place, like the hotels or whatever like that. The opportunities. Now this is something that we should look at, particularly when restoring the town hall, which I think is urgently needed, that there will be joint coming together with the visitors. And the visitors want that. And the next we have is the media vehicles. We asked the question, how has the following influenced your decision to come to Westport? Internet, brochure, newspapers, television and radio. Newspapers, television and radio are very insignificant. And they were 10 years ago as well. The most important one now is the internet, nearly 30%, whereas in 2002 it was only 10%. Brochures are still 13%, but they're down a lot since 23% in 2002. So don't be wasting your money. Well, I shouldn't say that. If you want to advertise the internet, cybernetics are here, and you know that. I don't have to tell you. Now, we go now to the host community. And as I said to you, the host community is the most important community whose opinions, because they're so experienced in Westport and and so on. So I asked them the question and gave them a list of answers. You'll find there table number 18, it's on 36 in this preliminary document. The rating of Westport experience, how would you rate the experience? We got how the tourists rated themselves. So the rating went: scenic beauty, number 1, 9.7 out of 10. Beauty of the town, number 2, 9.6 out of 10. Adventurous, 8.8. This is the thing coming in about friendly people, 8.8. These are huge figures. Relaxation, 8.6. These are all out of 10. Athletic sports, 8.4. Safe and secure, 8. The guards should be happy with that. But still, there are 2 that didn't. 7.9. Luxurious facilities, which I think means that we're going up the class ladder. The people who are coming here, they're looking for luxury. We're not getting that. We're not a working class destination, maybe. Generous people, 7.8%, and so on and so forth. They're all table 18. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you that this is how the leaders of the town assess the town as an experience for visitors. And the next one is the ethos of Westport community. And here we look for, on a continuum of 1 to 5, how friendly are the citizens in Westport? How supportive is the statutory bodies to tourism? And how supportive is the business community of tourism? And how Irish is the cultural ethos of Westport? Out of 10 again, how friendly? 8.6. How supportive? The statutory 8.2. And at this moment I want to put in my first plug, not to allow the town council to go. This is a disastrous decision, in my evidence. You know them by their fruits are good, and I think it's a bureaucratic decision that has to get a lot more thought. And I would say that civil servants in the department, or wherever it comes from, should read the Tocqueville. He said, democracy thrives when there are three legs on the stool: local government, voluntary organisations and central government. And each three have to be strong. But now we have a two-legged stool, and that's going to fall. We have strong voluntary organisations like the farmers and the unions, but we have the local government is being wiped out, in my opinion. And we have to strengthen the local government. Now, how Irish is it? 7.1. It could be more Irish. Somebody said to me one time it looked like a suburb of Dublin. But not in the Dublin, it's a suburb of Dublin sometimes. The next is the impact of development on Westport. And the response here is quite positive. Industrial development, 6.8 out of 10. Urban expansion, 7.2. But commercialisation and recreation, 9.5. I was surprised at that. I thought that we would be wary of over-industrial development for a tourist town. But we have been able to, Westport has been able to mix it fairly well. There's clean industry, but remember we have to have industry because tourism is not full employment, and that's very important. Next thing we come to Westport House, and this is table 25. Westport House has got tremendous recognition. And I would like to say this, in my 4 or 5 years, I don't think we get full recognition to the Marquess of Sligo, or to his son, Dennis, and to his son, Jeremy. I think it has improved an awful lot in the 25 years. And now that's understandable in history. But once the Queen put the crest or the flowers in the Garden of Remembrance, for me, Westport House is as Irish as Connemara. And we have to forget the past, and we have to row in with Westport House. We owe an awful lot to Westport House. Now, maybe I have a guilty conscience, that's why I'm pushing it. Now the question then The next question there is Croagh-Patrick. The survey of Croagh-Patrick has brought out an alarming result. As you know there on page 32, is it? I have two pictures of Croagh-Patrick, as it was and as it is. In the opinion of the majority of Westport leaders, the path something has to be done about the path. The mountain has been overused. This gale force thing is rejected by our survey. And it shouldn't be an obstacle course. Young people going up there with big boots on them are like pickaxes, poking away the shale, and the winter storm comes and down it comes. If we don't do something, I think it should be, personally think it should be paved, there should be a path designated, and nobody should be allowed off it. Otherwise, you'll kill the goose that laid the golden egg. Now, one of the big questions we put to the host was outdoor and indoor recreation. And here we come now to table 24 and 25. Here I'm guessing. Well, what are the most attractive outdoor activities for tourists in Westport? What would you think? Number one, greenways and railway walk. That could be part because it's been over-publicised, or it's been publicised. Number two, Croagh-Patrick as an outdoor activity. And number three is golf. Now, if golf's got the support that its status has, Westport Golf Club will be the envy of any golf club. I think Westport Golf Club is not getting the support of its status. And Westport House activities, all up in the top four, and then after that come beaches, sailing, walking, fishing, cycling, skate park, mountain climbing, horse riding and pony trekking and all that. But these can all be put together. But I want to point this out to you, that the outdoor activities, it is the Greenway, Croagh-Patrick, golf and Westport House. They are the top four. Now what about the indoor activities? And I think it's in the indoor activities we are weakest. What's top in the indoor? The cinema. Way ahead. 69.3% of the respondents put the cinema down as the most attractive indoor facility. Now I happened in the past to be one of the people who persuaded Hawley Hogan to bring the complex here to Westport, but I think it hasn't thrived as it should. There's great potential there, particularly with family holidays, with matinees. We could have a lot of work could be done with the cinema. The leisure centre was second, the swimming and water sports was third, and Westport House again was in the top four for indoor activities. Then we have pub taverns, restaurants and cafes. These are all very high. Galleries, shopping, concerts, festivals, heritage centre, gymnasium, dancing, and car playing. If you want car playing, until your winter tours. Now the next is, we go on to the next page, value for money. Well, the value for money was fairly good. It didn't change since 2002. And that shows that Westport has adapted to the boom and bust. That was my indicator of that. And of course that's the success test of every industry, every business. To survive, you must be able to survive in a time of boom and in the time of bust. And we have been able to adjust it. In fact, I think economic downturn is an aid to tourism. When we were flying high here, we weren't coming into Ireland from Knock, we were going out from Ireland from Knock. But it wasn't an asset to tourism, Knock Airport. It was an exit into foreign tourism. So you see, the thing we found about from my research in the town was numbers held up, was expenditure didn't. That's a sign of the downturn in the economy. But still, it's to the credit of the people. Now, the two items which are highest in value for money are outdoor activities and accommodation. They have adjusted best. the two items that are coming up, both in the tourists and in the is pub prices. We are not happy with the pub prices, and we are not happy with petrol and diesel prices. And after all, 84% of our tourists are motorised. So I wish the Minister was here and could listen to their taxation programme. One of the ways you could help tourism is to have a taxation something, because it is very expensive to tour by motor now in Ireland. And the next item on the agenda is community services. Now here again, this is, in my opinion, the most important question in the book. And it's on table number 30 and 31. Where's community services?
Table number 27.
Yeah, 27 and 28. Now, I identify 19 services that the community has to supply to its visitors. And they go from, I'll give you the results, just very briefly, in the order in which they're seen as being important. Most important, outdoor recreation is the level of importance. Tourism information, restaurants, cafes, rail services, parking facilities, medical services, gardening, indoor recreation, pubs and taverns, bus services, telecommunications, banking services, taxi services, shopping in general, the heritage centre, gift shops, information kiosks, postal services and religious services. Now they're all ranked high, but the religious services at the bottom. Now does that tell you that the respondents are gone totally secular, or that St. Patrick's as a religious shrine is not appreciated as a religious shrine, or this thing that Knock brings us here? I don't know, but that's the answer. Now when I looked to ask them, how have they been delivered, these services? Well, here's where the big change came. Religious service went from 19th to 8th. So the religious services have been well delivered. And the top again are outdoor recreation. These are the ones that are best served. Outdoor recreation, pubs, taverns, restaurants and cafes. Tourist information, medical services, postal services, Gardaí police, religious services, gift shops, heritage centre, rail services, banking, telecommunications, taxi, shopping in general, information, kiosks, indoor recreation. And that's how I got an alarm. Mark 17th out of 19 was the indoor recreation. Something big has to be done in indoor recreation in this town. And somebody should set up a committee to look into it. And the lowest service was bus services. So I looked in for a Pearson problem, no, for a rank order correlation coefficient between the order of importance and the order of delivery, and it was as low as 0.32, just barely significant. I won't go into that anymore. And the last question I asked was probably, what did the leaders find most interesting? And they found the most attractive things in Westport were beauty of the town and the quay, the Greenway Railway Park, Crook Pasture, the people of Westport House, scenic beauty. And it's a very interesting table in number 30 in your book. And 31 gives what the local community thought was least attractive about Westport. And here's where we have to cock our ears. The most unattractive thing about Westport is empty shops, derelict buildings, and the failure to develop the quay. The second most unpopular is antisocial behaviour, drinking to excess in public, and included were hens and stags. I don't know what you mean by that, I don't explain it. Parking was another big one. Need to develop the quay, inadequate facilities for visitors, and so on. And that's the summary of the findings. I'm sorry to be very rushed. I want to end now by looking at the recommendations. I know I'm rushing, but there's pressure from the chair here. We now look, I have 17 recommendations, and they're all on pages 111 forwards. The first recommendation, appears to me, is to restore the town council. That it continue, and legislation providing for its abolition be amended accordingly. The success of Westport as a quality destination for tourists has been the result of successful cooperation and collaboration between the statutory and voluntary. My opinion from 4 surveys, the contribution of town council has been essential to this partnership. The second thing is Kirkpatrick should be protected from further erosion. If it doesn't, they'll all be going up the Canterbury. Be going up from the far side. The laissez-faire use of Kirkpatrick wouldn't be tolerated in any other country. And if you want to get places for testing your fitness, take another mountain, there's plenty of them around. Leave Kirkpatrick alone. Won't be there. I mean, this is in England. Back in the period, it'll be anywhere. I see now they're going to stop people going up Everest because it's been overpopulated. There are 100,000 people going up the Reef every year. Now carry on with that and you'll see what's going to happen. The third recommendation coming is that the quay and Roman Island should be redeveloped. And there should be a marina put in at the quay. That's very strongly supported. And other amenities leading to greater use of the Clew Bay. In fact, one eminent person we interviewed said that the Clew Bay is the great unused asset to Westport. And I agree with him. The fourth recommendation is build a roundabout at Belfair. We have redeveloped the old road, now it's called the West Road, you have to deal with it now, you know. And this upgrading has led to the bypassing of the quay and Westport House for tourists coming from the south. They come up, go through Leenan, go into Louisburg, come in, bypass the quay, come into Westport, and have a drink and move on. Also, we need a multi-storey car park, because there is no green space left to be used for car parking. Now I see a number of sites. I just went down to visit it today. That's Hastings Old Garage. Ideal place for a multi-storey car park. Maybe the car park behind Mill Street, and maybe just, I'll leave you to find it. Because that's environmentally friendly and safe and secure. The sixth recommendation is special action must be taken with regard to empty businesses. Incomplete building projects. Look, come in on the train and you look down at O'Malley's, the building site there that was up on the Ballarove Road, and you see rusty scaffolding. It's a disgrace. And people are coming in on the train, and there it is. You come in on the train to Westport, you come over the bridge, and you look down and you see they haven't even been cleaned up. They haven't cost nothing. And also I think the bylaws have to be strengthened. I mean, there are houses in this town that haven't been whitewashed for 3 years. And they're going to lose us our tidy towns position. There's other places where there are docks and weeds going outside the door. That's going to lose us our tidy town titles. Special action should be taken then on that. The range and quality of indoor activities and facilities, I've said enough about them, should be enhanced to the maximum. And we all welcome the development of the town hall and congratulate it. When a man rang me this morning and said, if we want to have a billiard table in the town hall, and you've taken the ball alley from behind us, so we want the ball alley back, and a billiard table in the town hall. I'd say that now to the committee, you can do what you wish. It is the ongoing support for Westport House. The main attraction of this town, that it should continue, and the maximum cooperation should be between the host community and the management and the house and grounds. I mean, we're so lucky that it wasn't built on. I mean, the Greenway, and the ninth recommendation is the Greenway and Railway Walk should be supported, developed, monitored to ensure the enjoyment, safety particularly, security of the users, with adequate backup services. You want to have toilets, you want to have shelters for the rainy day, you want to have food facilities at strategic points along it. You can't just put down tarmac and then walk over the dog's droppings the next day. Oh no, that's not the way to do it. It has to be a lot of thought given to that. The scenic landscape has to be protected and enhanced, and the cooperation of farmers and landowners is invited to improve the visual perspective of ordered planting of trees and shrubs. And I would like to make a severe criticism to Creech or whoever did it. Planting trees in a moorland is an aesthetic disaster. You can look at it in Winterone, you can look at it in the Nairn Valley, and you can see it out in Florence. We can no longer look down the valley because they put up a copse of spruce to blind us all. Trees must be up in highlands, upperlands, not down in the flat. And there should be planning permission for all planting of trees. But also what I have envisaged now is we have a cooperative, we have to plant our trees. Now I know they're planting trees along the roads, but I don't know how they're going to turn out. Is the purpose of those trees to absorb the carbon monoxide that comes from the cars, or is it to enhance the beauty of the country? That's that anyhow. The architectural integrity of the town should be restored progressively over a number of years. There have been mistakes made in architecture. We have flat roofs, so there should be hip roofs. And they should be gradually replaced. But there has to be compensation from the state to do it. You won't get much parking in Westport now. I was caught the other day. I was in for a cup of coffee in St. Christie's. Came out and I got a 40 euro fine for sitting in a loading bay. Nothing loaded in my time anyhow. But the man was right. So I said I would tell you that to show that I am not like some TDs. I was not hated, I was proud to do it. Of course, it's a clever way for the town council to get a few bob. But anyhow, but they're pushing the cars off the streets with all this widening of the footpaths, and people don't like it. Some of them, anyhow, that's the way I'm getting. The Heritage Centre should be relocated to the centre of the town. And I know I would love to see it located in the Wyatt Theatre and the museum. To me, that's an ideal place. And there's a little building beside it there with whitewash on it and there's blue paint on it. We should be encouraged, even if to lease these things, to bring that in. This is a wonderful service, a very valuable service. It's present down at Roman Island. Greater attention should be paid to classical music. In addition, I know Matt Malloy is here, in addition to the good Irish traditional music, the country and western, and my favourite music, the bluegrass, is enjoyed at present. But we have to do something with classical music. I think we should set up a chamber orchestra, and also I suggest that we have some of the Baroque music down in Westport House. I put in a picture there of the Westport House interior, and also an odd prom concert. Put up a tent in front of Westport House. That will become nationally famous. Support the golf club. It's so popular, it's so good, and our former chairman is now its president. It's not commensurate, the sport for it is not commensurate to its status. And the same goes to the cinema, and that's number 16. Support for the Westport Cinema is will be more explicit and indoor activity, and it is an important one. Maybe there could be some coming together with the runners of it to get the best, so they'd have matinees on in summer, particularly on the rainy day. And the 17th, which is you probably knew it had come in somewhere, was coming in now. I call for an integrated tri-modal access plan, transport plan to Westport. Air, rail and road be developed to improve access to Westport visitors. The whole problem, and this goes back to 1981 when I saw it first, the tourists are not going north above Galway. They come down to Dublin, they go down to Kerry, up and back to Dublin. Now we want to push them up to Sligo and to Mayo. And that's where I think that now looking up, we have Knock Airport, but we need a railway from Limerick to Sligo to bring up the traffic. Imagine, as I must say, back in 1979, when it was suggested that we establish a link with Rosslare to bring backpackers up, and incidentally the backpackers are going away from us, and that's stupid, because those backpackers could come back as families later. So the Western Rail Corridor will help that. So there now, I might have run over the time I don't have, but it's a big survey, and I know that they're going to do this, and when you've it all read, we will have serious seminar on it some morning. And I'm delighted to say it's yours now, it's away from me, there's a life of its own. Thank you for your attention.